Sort of break it down like this.
3, 2, 1. We are back with another YouTube exclusive movie review. This time, Joe and I, the hosts of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast, are talking Captain America: Civil War.
All right,
Spoiler-free reviews.
We are
Spoiler-free
recording.
reviews.
We are recording live at Free Comic Book Day on Free Comic Book Day at Legend Comics and Coffee.
It's true. It's true. As you can see, they're on set right now.
There are many people here in the audience. There may be people that are here that did not see the movie. Do not worry. We are not going to spoil anything.
We're keeping it spoiler-free, folks, but we can do that. We're smart guys.
However, if there is anybody here that has seen the movie and wants to share an opinion about it,
Yes, you can do that.
you can come talk to us.
As long as it's spoiler-free. That's all we ask, okay? Well, we have a mic plugged in just for you. If you want to come up and yell about it right now, let's get into it.
No, you took the mic down.
No, I just plug it right back in. It's all good. Hey, how we doing? Joe Patrick, let's get into it.
Did you take notes like you said you were going to?
No, because I didn't think we were actually going to do it.
You said you were going to take notes so that we could keep on task.
I'm being pro here. You kidding me? So we met a lot of new characters.
Sorry, well then let's start with what we know. Captain America Civil War is a movie.
It is definitely a movie.
We saw it in CinemaScope at the Alamo Drafthouse Theater.
In full CinemaScope. We went Thursday night to Alamo Drafthouse, had a great experience. I'm going to try and get them to sponsor this damn show.
I ate a very wet pizza.
Really? I had a pretty good cheeseburger.
It was dark, and I can't really explain in what way it was wet, whether it was just like steam on the plate wet or grease wet.
So let's stay on target here. What do you say?
I'm just saying, if you go to the Alamo Drafthouse, be prepared to eat in the dark and order accordingly. That's
Fair.
my friendly tip to you.
Fair enough. This is the third of the Captain America movies.
Yes.
Now let me ask you right off the bat, did this feel like a Captain America movie or did it feel like another Avengers film?
I think it felt like a Captain America movie to me.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there were a lot of Avengers moments. Obviously, there were a lot of characters in it, and all of the characters... Oh, no! Oh.
Go ahead and put that anywhere.
Time slowed to a crawl, and I watched it all happen. Good call.
So the nuts and bolts of it are, this introduced two sides of Avengers arguing with each other, and it was for not the same reason that we got in the
No.
America,
It was way different.
the Civil War that we got in the comic
It was
books.
way different from the comic.
Patrick, good to see you. Always, buddy.
Free Comic Book Day high five. Are you sure you don't want to stick around and share a thought on camera about Captain America: the Civil War? Ken Burns is
He was great. He
Captain
loved it.
America. The Civil War.
So let's talk about the new characters first. Let's talk about who got introduced. Most notably, the Black Panther.
Black Panther, yes, and he was wonderful.
He was amazing.
He was
they
so
did
great.
a fantastic. Chadwick Boseman played the Black Panther.
Yeah, I was worried about Chadwick Boseman because I've never seen any of his movies.
Okay.
But he always just seemed like kind of a young guy to me. And in my head, when I think of the Black Panther and how he carries himself and how he talks, with like this majestic, this regality.
He sounds like an older guy.
This
kind
of gravitas. I was unsure that Chadwick Boseman could do that. Because, again, I looked at him and I just saw young guy, too young.
Right.
But he did it, man. He totally did it.
They also very cleverly introduced him as a younger guy. Like, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but the way that they did it worked really well in the sense that, like, he might not be the full Black Panther that we know from the comics yet.
Yeah, he's the Black Panther, man. He wore the suit.
Yeah, I understand he wore the suit. What I'm saying is he wasn't the king yet. I'm trying not to spoil that, genius. Okay? Yeah. Stay with me here, all right? I'd say the way they introduced him...
Then why'd you even bring it up?
To counter your point. You're with me here, right? We're doing this.
But there was no point to counter. The point is that he did all the things that I was worried he couldn't do.
Right.
So for you to say, but maybe this.
No, what I'm saying is
you opened the door to the spoiler stuff, not me.
He felt younger than the Black Panther that I know.
But I don't think he did.
See, I
don't agree. I think I was worried about it, and then when I saw him, all my doubts were out the door. I was like, yep, you did it.
So let's talk about the other two that we haven't seen in a Cap movie yet. We've got Scarlet Witch was in there.
Well, but they
And
were
the
introduced.
Vision.
They were introduced before.
I'm not saying they were introduced, but I'm saying we got to see more Scarlet Witch and more Vision.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch got a lot of screen time.
She definitely did.
And I liked her. I thought she was good.
I thought she did a great job. Yeah.
I was very thankful that they really downplayed that horrible Eastern European accent that she was trying to do in Avengers Age of Ultron.
Elizabeth Olsen can't really pull it off, and you don't really need it. It's not important.
It was there slightly.
Yeah, but she didn't sound like she was like the bride of Dracula.
She didn't sound like Yakov Smirnoff. In Sokovia, robot beats you or whatever. Sorry, I couldn't think of one.
That was great.
I know.
Paul Bettany, I didn't love the way the Vision acted in the second Avengers movie where we met him.
I loved the Avengers.
I like the way he looked, but here they definitely humanized him more.
In this movie, I think in Avengers Age of Ultron, I thought, okay, they're calling him the Vision, and that's cool, and he's got the yellow thing, and he's got a cape. But if you even saw him use his Vision powers, it was only super brief in Avengers 2.
And he was really stiff. He was just really stiff and android-like.
And he was caught up in all of that, like Infinity Stone garbage, and come into life because of Ultron and all that. In this movie, I thought 100% fully, this is the Vision that I know from the comics.
Yeah, I loved him.
Like without a doubt, this character is the Vision. They're nailing it. And the Vision wearing plain clothes is my favorite thing in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It shows he's trying to be human.
I love it so much.
So cool.
Him wearing like a sweater vest, awesome.
And did it weird you out? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that they sort of him and Wanda had some tender moments?
Yeah, but they didn't really do anything. They were just like, if you were a comic fan, you're like, oh, I bet you those two crazy kids are really gonna hit it off.
Joe Patrick said at one point in the theater, he goes, "Here's where this gets weird."
yeah. I thought, oh man, it's gonna get weird. It did not get weird.
It didn't get weird.
So yes, I thought that the Vision and the Scarlet Witch were handled much better in this movie than they were in Avengers 2. But look, we're dancing around. Or you want to talk about Ant-Man?
Yeah, Ant-Man, Paul Rudd.
I mean, Paul Rudd was just Ant-Man. He was Ant-Man from Ant-Man.
I was a little worried, not in the sense that Paul Rudd's not a good actor or I didn't care for the Ant-Man movie. I loved it. I just didn't know how it was going to work in a movie this serious and this heavy.
Yeah, you might think that it would be out of place.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Not at all. Not at all.
And that's just perfect. That's the thing about these comic universes, and DC too, though the movies don't show it, is that there are characters like that, that are running around making inappropriate jokes and just being doofuses.
Sure.
There was a very popular run of Justice League that very prominently featured two idiots on the world's greatest superhero team.
This is true.
And we loved them for it. And yeah, so to have Ant-Man there to kind of cut that tension was great. And he has one of the best moments in the film, which we will obviously not talk about.
Right.
But he gets a big moment, and it really pays off.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
Oh man! And everybody in the theater freaked out when it happened too. You could hear the theater going, yeah. Okay.
I will say that there's a moment. There's a split second. So just to reiterate again, we went to the Alamo Drafthouse, and the Alamo Drafthouse is very, very serious about not disturbing the showtime.
Yeah,
Do not talk.
No phone calls. No texting.
Don't breathe if you can help it.
Yeah.
And so when we get to this moment for Ant-Man in the... Keith Binder, don't.
You son of a...
When we get to this moment with Ant-Man in Cap 3, there's a split second right before the moment occurs where you can definitely... If you know what to look for, you know exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And I shouted in the theater full of people, do it!
Okay, the other comic relief, Spider-Man.
Oh, God. Spider-Man was...
This is the first we've seen of Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He was everything I ever
Tom
wanted.
Holland is playing him. Tom Holland, a kid that I didn't recognize before this. I have to say, in what little we got, in the first 10 seconds of Tom Holland as Peter Parker, even before he put on the suit, even before anything happened, totally sold it.
Yes.
Totally sold it. It was everything that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were trying to capture, but didn't quite hit on the head.
I said to somebody that we went with, probably Dave, I said, it made me retroactively angry at the first 6 Spider-Man movies.
Yes. Like, I don't think Andrew Garfield's performance was necessarily bad, but I don't think it was a great movie, and I think he was miscast. He was too old.
No, I mean, I liked him. As Peter Parker at the time, but I didn't know what I was missing. I didn't know how good it could be.
He was perfect.
They trotted out Tom Holland, and I remember when they cast Tom Holland, and they said, we're going young, we're going for high school Peter Parker, and they cast Tom Holland, and everybody went, whoa, now, hold on. Now, we know what you said, but that is a child.
Right.
That is a little boy.
Well, and they even make jokes about it in the movie.
Yeah.
Without giving, there's a line where, like, one character says to another, how young is this kid?
Yeah.
And Iron Man goes, young-ish.
He's very, it felt very Ultimate Spider-Man-y in that way. In the sense that, like, by the time, 60s era Peter was still a teenager when he was running around meeting the Avengers and all these guys. But I don't remember his youth being like a huge part of it. But in Ultimate Spider-Man specifically, the fact that he was a kid came up a lot because it's so obvious to everybody, even though he's wearing head-to-toe body mask, that this is a child in a superhero outfit and he has no business being here. What's he doing here? And I got a little bit of that from this.
Yeah.
And he just played that part so perfectly. I didn't know what to expect, and it was so much better than I hoped.
Well, and just from an acting standpoint, he's a young guy, and the way he could hang with Robert Downey Jr. in the like really quick, quippy dialogue, that was a fantastic performance. Period.
Right, and the banter was spot on, and the jokes were spot on. And that's
the way he moved. Now, we've seen
obviously all CGI, most of it.
All CGI, but I will say in the last Spider-Man film, in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man film that we got, that was still very current CGI. It still very much looked like CGI. I will say in this movie, obviously it's CGI, but it looked like a guy in a suit doing it. It looked...
Well, the technology, even from 2 years ago,
of course it's better. Of course
miles
it's better.
Above where it was.
This was stunning, though. The way he moved, the way he joked, and the best part of it was, I will say, in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and we're not going to go on and on with Spider-Man too long, but they made Spider-Man move the way that Todd McFarlane made him move. He was perfect. He was acrobatic. He didn't, he flipped around and he was great. In this, he was still very acrobatic, but a little clumsy and trying to figure it out and whipping around and grabbing.
Well, yeah, he's only been Spider-Man for like 6 months.
Yeah,
when they pick up in this movie,
and it worked so well.
This is a very slight spoiler, but I was happy that they didn't bother with the origin.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Like, we all know the origin. We also, and even if we don't, we know that Spider-Man's getting his own movie next year.
Right.
They didn't waste any time explaining where he came from, why he has his powers. All that we know is that there's this kid running around fighting crime, dressed in a very bad spider costume.
Yeah. Goggles.
And that's where he enters the picture. And we don't need to learn about Aunt May. Aunt May.
We'll get to her in a second.
Marissa Tomei is Aunt May in this movie. Hachi-machi. And yeah, we don't need to learn about great power and great responsibility. Like, there's a moment in that movie. There's a moment in this movie where Spider-Man has to explain to another character why he does what he does. Like, you're a kid, you've got your whole life ahead of you. Why are you throwing yourself in front of bullets? What is your problem? And he does everything but actually say the line.
Right.
But I knew that was the I knew that that's what he was saying.
Oh yeah.
And so they don't waste any of that time. They give you everything you need to know and say, okay, well, we'll see you next time.
Okay. Is Marissa Tomei too hot to play Aunt May?
No such thing.
No such thing as too hot to play Aunt May?
Aunt May has always been
looking
hot.
at the other actresses that have played her through the years.
Look.
Like Sally Field.
Here's a mind freak. Here's a mind freak for you. Aunt May has always been hot.
Well, and there were some people that were saying you're disgusting, on the internet that Aunt May's too hot. This is ridiculous and they're pandering, whatever. Now, I would say if Peter is supposed to be, in this movie, if Peter is supposed to be somewhere between 16 and 18, we'll say. And
15 is when Peter Parker became Spider-Man, so that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, we'll say he's 15 to 16. Sure. Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
If Aunt May is 45, which I believe is the actual age of Marissa Tomei, she's perfectly age appropriate.
Marissa Tomei, is she the daughter of Mel Torme?
Sorry, Tomei. Sorry, but that would make her age appropriate. Shut up, internet. There you go, in your face.
Right. I mean, I get it. I understand the dogged, determination to stick close to the continuity. And
Okay.
Get over it, man.
Yeah.
Just
really
get over it. Do you know how little I want to see any sort of film version of Peter being worried that Aunt May's gonna get sick and die?
Right.
If she finds out that he's Spider-Man.
Right.
Or because he's got to go get medicine for Aunt May because of this. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it.
Aunt May fell off the toilet again and broke her hip. Oh.
The idea that Ben Parker was Peter's dad's brother was already way unbelievable considering how old they must have been.
Yeah.
Like, are you telling me that Peter Parker's dad
was an accident? You don't know.
Are Peter Parker's parents in their 50s? This is how it would have to be. Peter Parker's parents were in their 50s when Peter was born, and Ben was 30 when Peter's dad was born.
Apparently.
Which I don't buy.
Regardless of that, let's get to the bad guy.
Zemo.
Daniel Bruhl playing Zemo.
Bruhl. Bruhl's rules. Baron Zemo, for your health.
Okay.
No,
That's an
I'm
interesting
just,
point.
he was good.
He was very good. I thought he acted the part very well. I liked what he was trying to do, but at the same time, part of me felt like the character of Baron Zemo that I love was kind of lost on this character.
This was not Baron Zemo.
Right.
This was a character named Helmut Zemo.
Right.
And that's all well and good, but I mean, he could have been anybody.
Yeah. He didn't need to be Baron Zemo. And spoiler alert, he doesn't put on the pink, mask or the furry coat or the
color.
weird crown or whatever it is he wears.
And I wanted him to so bad.
Part of me did, and there was even a scene where it would have worked.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I don't want to get into anything about the character because that's all spoilery territory.
But I will say that was my one complaint with the film, and not the actor, not the role, not the performance.
I'd go so far as to say that it's not really a complaint.
No.
It's just a choice that they made that I was like,
It's an odd choice.
I probably would have preferred it to be this way, but the way they pulled it off was all excellent.
Oh, definitely.
Like what they gave us was excellent.
Right,
so
and
it's
even
not
his
a complaint.
plan was great. And as a villain, a lot of people that reviewed this movie that probably aren't comic dorks like us said, look, this is the best villain with the best plan we have seen in one of these movies yet. This guy was great. And it really was. It just felt like a bit of a waste of the character of Baron Zemo as I know him from the comics. That's my only complaint.
Right, yeah, that's the thing, right? Now you've got this character, you've got Zemo established in the universe, so you can never go back and say, oh, and now here he is,
right.
the 20th heir to the Zemo dynasty. Here's his castle in Sokovia.
Right.
Like they're not going to do that because they've already got this established version.
So you don't think we're going to get Citizen X, is what you're saying?
Citizen V.
Pardon me, Citizen V.
Thank you very much from the Thunderbolts.
Pardon me.
And maybe they will. You never know. Never say never.
Kind of doubt it. All in all, though,
Never say die.
Of the Marvel films, of the standalone Marvel character films, I think the Captain America ones have been the strongest.
Yes, I agree.
And I think this is the strongest Captain America film we've seen yet.
This is what I'll say. I think that this is probably my favorite Marvel movie.
I think it's safe for me to say that at this point, too, and that's taking into account the first Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think this is my favorite Marvel movie.
I almost feel like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of exists on a separate plane of existence because it's so disconnected from everything.
Right.
And so I don't normally judge it alongside all the other ones that are constantly pushing forward with the momentum. But I think it's my favorite. But I don't know if it's necessarily the best Captain America movie. I think Winter Soldier, like for the character of Captain America, was such an amazing film.
Oh, definitely.
And this is definitely a Captain America movie because I think even though it's jam-packed with all these characters, you still get so much more out of Steve Rogers and Chris Evans' role.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And But I just think that as far as it's really an ensemble piece, and it's kind of hard to judge it as a solo movie. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, definitely. And just in like strength of writing for what they did with the characters of Iron Man and Captain America, who we've seen on screen for, well, I mean, we've seen Iron Man for, 10 years now almost?
8 years.
8 years.
2008.
Okay, but just the way that they built up the tension, they built up the argument. It started with a very political argument. It moved to something way more personal later on. And you believed all of this. You believed it because both actors sold it. The story sold it. This was not a Superman-Batman thing where we need them to fight because, plot.
Reasons, yeah.
No, like they sold it so well.
Right. And not only did they sell the conflict well, but for all of the comparisons this movie will get, somebody said to me that, oh, you can't even compare these two. You can't even compare Captain America to Superman versus Batman.
I would argue that's a good thing.
But how can you not? They're both movies featuring multiple characters introduced for the first time into the franchises, where the primary plot is that characters that should be working together are at odds. Right. They are almost exactly the same plot. You should definitely compare these two movies. And this is how well Captain America and Marvel were able to tell this story where the characters are at odds, but it wasn't such a bleak affair.
Right, and no one got lost in the plot. No one got swallowed and started doing something that you were like, that guy would never say that, or that guy would never do that.
There was nothing in it that didn't make sense.
Exactly.
I never stopped and went, well, why did this character do that? Why did they do that?
And even Sebastian Stan, who is a huge part of this movie, Bucky, understands what is going on and understands why people would be angry with him and understands why Cap wants to help him and is conflicted in the sense like, well, maybe I don't deserve it and whatnot. And like, even he was so well nuanced and handled. And
I mean, there was the scene where Black Panther was out to kill Bucky for the whole movie, and then he found out Bucky's name was also Martha. And they were like, oh, wait a minute,
okay,
best friends now.
You're reaching there a little bit, but regardless. No, I all in all, I think this was the best acted performance-wise.
Oh, I want to, before we start to sum it up, the fight choreography in this movie.
Incredible.
I was just out of bounds.
Incredible.
I have never seen movie fight scenes so impressive.
And I will say, I think the most impressive that we saw was the Black Widow. She was incredible in this.
A Black Widow was amazing. Black Panther was just stunning.
Unreal. Yeah.
And, of course, Spider-Man, if you're worried about how they pulled off, like how Spider-Man would fight with all of his flips and swings and swoops.
Don't worry.
That airport scene in the trailer where you see them running head to head and you're like, oh God, that looks so freaking cheesy.
It looked like the cheesiest thing in the world. It turned out to be the best scene
It's
in the
like
film.
16 minutes long, that scene.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
The best scene in the film. I will say, Natasha, in every movie we've seen her, she's sort of been in different fighting styles. Like the first one, she was super acrobatic and grabbing people and wrestling. The second one, it was very kung fu driven. The second time we saw her, this time, she is a full-on WWE diva. She is doing wrestling moves, finishing moves on people, and it is awesome.
Yes. Chris,
Your boyfriend
Chris
is
the
not
Bachelor,
a
Bachelor.
bachelor. Your boyfriend is the bachelor. All right? It's different. Trust me. Chris Bachelder's lady there. M, sweet girl. We love her. But he's single, ladies.
No.
Regardless, let's sum it up here. I'm just gonna come out and say it. This is the best Marvel movie I have seen yet, and not just in slam bang action, but in story, performance, music, action. And they could have gotten so lost with all these characters, and it could have been just a complete mess. But everyone stood out. Everyone had good, excellent performances. Everyone had very fair camera time, and nothing got old.
Yeah. For as bloated as it was, it didn't feel like anybody got short shrifted.
No.
Even though some characters did get less time, it made sense. Like, there's no reason that Ant-Man needed a ton of screen time.
No, and I think he would have gotten old had he had a ton
Right.
of it.
but everybody had a beat. Everybody had a really impressive moment.
Yeah. The pacing.
Every single character in this movie had, even Sharon Carter.
Yeah. The pacing for the story and the characters made so much logical sense. You never felt like, oh, they're just doing this to get a laugh, or they're just doing this to get applause, or they're just doing this to get this guy farted into the film. It all made sense. It flowed. The story was excellent. The effects were perfect, of course.
And I don't know if we can really speak to how far it catapulted the overall Marvel cinematic
Yeah, we can't do that.
plot.
Can't do that.
No, I'm just saying. But as far as like the Avengers specifically and these characters, I think it did a huge push, setting up
Most
all
definitely.
sorts of future stuff for these characters. Just this group, as we are watching them in these more grounded movies,
Right.
and it never ever felt forced. It never felt like, well, they're just trying to sell us. I mean, yes, you can say, oh, they shoehorned in Spider-Man. I don't agree. I don't agree that they shoehorned in Spider-Man. Spider-Man's in
No.
Civil War, the comic. We
No.
all wanted him to be there. The script writers intended for him to be there from the beginning, whether they knew they were going to be able to get him or not.
Yeah, you could tell this wasn't just like, oh crap, we have to interrupt the script now to fart this thing in here. No,
So much of the plot revolves around Spider-Man's involvement that, I don't feel at all that it was shoehorned in. And so I don't think any of it felt forced. And
No.
we did get hints at the future of like where we're going to see these characters next, and kind of cracked open the door so that we could see through to some like really exciting new status quos. And that was another thing, like Captain America 2, it really upset the apple cart.
Yeah.
As far as like where these characters are.
Yeah. They've really established that Cap is the best guy in the world in the Marvel Universe, but he's not afraid to do what's right, even when it seems to everyone else like it's the wrong thing to do.
And
I like that. I really like that.
Well, yeah, that's Captain America.
Yeah. I mean, like,
that's how it should be.
They have nailed the soul of that character.
And for all of Marvel's talk, they kind of centered their whole most recent relaunch, ANAD.
All new, all different, ANAD.
Around the idea that Iron Man is the flagship character in the Marvel comic universe because of his popularity in the movies. And yes, he's very popular in the movies, but I don't think, other than maybe the first Iron Man movie that kind of kicked off the whole thing, none of the Marvel movies have driven the narrative more than these Cap films.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at any of the Iron Man films, Thor, which I like both the Thor movies, but they were definitely just felt like the side adventures of Thor.
Sure.
Or the other adventures of Iron Man, and maybe, who knows, Doctor Strange is going to be like that. I don't have a problem with it if it is. But yeah.
I kind of feel like Doctor Strange is going to be like Guardians in the sense that it's disconnected.
I think so too. I think it's going to be more in the Marvel Magic universe. Would not surprise me to see him popping up at Avengers later. But regardless, on our buy it, skim it, leave it scale, which barely makes sense for movies, but we got to stick with it. Huge buy it. Go see this movie.
Absolutely.
Go see this movie.
I wish I were seeing it right now.
I'm taking my wife, Casey, to see it tomorrow. She's at home on the couch watching Avengers and Avengers 2 today. She came to see Avengers with us, and she passed out in 15
minutes. Has she
minutes.
seen Captain America 2?
Yes, she saw Cap 2. She loves the Cap movies. They're her favorites. And I think this is going to be one of her favorites, too. Thank you to everybody watching on YouTube. Again, we'll be back to do this. What's our next movie?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange?
I think.
Is the next one?
August.
There's nothing else in between there. There's got to be something. Some weird comic properties coming. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
A team, TMNT2.
Yep.
Secret of the Ooze.
We should probably do it.
No, we should.
Bebop and Rocksteady are going
Don't
to be there,
dumb.
man.
We didn't do the first one.
We weren't doing this yet. We're doing the first one.
No, we don't have to review every movie. It's not our sworn duty.
We'll be back with more. Please leave comments and likes if you're into this
Only
stuff.
if they're good, though.
Oh, yeah. Please, none of the negative ones.
No jerks.
And you can find all our stuff at THNNerd.com. We do 2 shows a week. They're both a lot of fun. This has been Matt and Joe talking Captain America, Civil War, coming to you from Free Comic Book Day at Legend and Coffee. Go to their website,
LegendComicsandCoffee.com.
And right now,
Eisner Award winning. It's a big deal.
when is the drawing for the Make-A-Wish?
Oh, right now we are fundraising for Make-A-Wish, where we are selling tickets. The tickets enter you into the drawing, and for every $5 you pay, you get one ticket.
There you go.
The drawing is in July at the 7th and 9th anniversary? 9th anniversary.
90th anniversary.
9th anniversary gala event in July. We will be doing the drawing for the Make-A-Wish fundraiser grand prizes. The grand prize this year is I don't know if it's CGC graded, but it is evaluated at a 7.5 out of 10 condition wise. It is a copy of Fantastic Four number 52, the first appearance of the Black Panther.
Word has it that book is going to go up in value a little bit. I'm not sure why, but we'll see.
No reason. No reason why.
So you can go to legendcomicsandcoffee.com.
Suicide Squad.
Get on their website and
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad's our next one.
I think is in July.
Yes, Suicide Squad's our next one. But you can sign up and donate money to a good cause and try and win something out of it. Huh? Thanks again, guys. We'll have another episode of THN Nerd comic book podcast coming this weekend. And I realize it's going to be up there in perpetuity, but that always counts. See you cats soon.
That's right, it does.
For now, this is the THN Nerd signing off.
Adios.
Sort of break it down like this.